Well, welcome everyone to another GoDaddy Pro meetup. My name is Marcus Burnett from GoDaddy Pro, and today I have a guest joining me to just kind of hang out and chat about WordPress Playground. And I will let him tell us all about what that is and demo it for us and everything. But joining me today is Bud Kraus from Joy of WP. How you doing today, Bud?
I'm doing good, Marcus. Now, don't forget to ask people the magic question.
Yes, the magic question that Bud would like to know in the chat is, what were you all doing 5 minutes before joining this session?
That's right.
We'll see how many people were working and how many people were snacking and all of those
Right.
things. Let's see. I can read some of the ones that are coming in already.
Check my
Scrum,
email.
checking
Right.
email, planning, working on WordPress. I like it. Good job, Rob. Working. Ida says working, having lunch. Nice. Keep those rolling in. We'll take a peek at them as they come in. But Bud,
Anybody taking a shower or something like, having, I know people eating lunch and stuff.
sure. In a
Usually I take
Zoom
a shower.
in a Zoom meeting on teaching blind people. That's an interesting one.
Oh, I should go to that. Yeah.
There you go. No, you're here to present. I need you to
Yeah.
talk about WordPress Playground.
Okay.
So I'm gonna hand the mic over to you and let you kind of take it away.
Now, what do I do? Can I show you my PowerPoint presentation? Do I have to do anything?
Yeah, go. You can go ahead and share your screen and choose
Oh, I
that.
see.
Actually, while you're doing that, I'll let people know as well. I'm gonna hang out, and if you have
Mm.
any questions for Bud as we go along, please toss those in the chat, and I'll interject and ask the questions kind of as we go here. And also wanted to let everyone know that this is being recorded as well. So if you want to go back and rewatch it or share it with your team, we'll have a link to that after this is done, and it'll just be emailed to the email address that you registered, and also on our YouTube GoDaddy Pro YouTube channel. So how's it
Now,
going, Bud?
how do I share my screen?
Across the bottom of this window should be a share screen icon and text.
Oh, yes. What do you know? Would help if
And
I can just
then I
say,
believe you can pick your application or window if you'd like.
I want
Or
I want, oh boy, I want the window. I want the whole thing. Okay.
you can just share the entire screen. It's up
I
to
want
you.
the entire screen. Is there a way to do, oh, I see entire screen. And here we go. Okay. So share. Okay. It doesn't let me click on, here we go. Share. Okay. Does that look right? That looks weird.
Yeah, we've got a wormhole situation going
Yeah.
on, but that's just because you're on that tab. Once you move away from that, we'll be good.
Okay. All right. So I see. That would make sense. Okay. How
There
about
we
now?
go.
Okay. Okay.
Looking good.
Yeah. So the old mirror effect, the wormhole effect, as you called it.
Yeah.
All right. So let's roll, everybody. My name is Bud Kraus. Thanks, Marcus. And thanks, GoDaddy, for letting me present Exploring the WordPress Playground. And of course, this is brought to you by us. That is GoDaddy and Joy of WP. So one of the things I'm going to do today is blow your mind. Did you hear the little sound? I guess the sound didn't come in. Because if you haven't seen WordPress Playground, this is really astonishing stuff. So that's me with my little grand boy when he was like 2 years younger. And yeah, I am a teacher, instructor, but I do now really focus on creating WordPress content for WordPress businesses. A little bit about me is I am a person with a vision impairment, so it's very possible you'll see misspellings or or something I won't see or get right away. So bear with me. We'll get there. If not together, at least with me, or we'll figure it out. So all right, the first thing I want to do, and Marcus, I'm glad you're nearby, is do a little survey so we can find out like what's going on here. First, and you can put this in the chat box, there's one of three answers here. First, I am new to the WordPress Playground. And even though I'm not new, I feel sort of new sometimes. Two, I've tried to use the WordPress Playground, but I just can't figure this thing out. It's just frustrating. And finally, I am a WordPress Playground Pro. So enter your 1, 2, or 3. That's all you get, one of those choices. And Marcus, can you do a quick tabulation here and tell me where things are?
Yeah, this is going to be an easy one because they're all ones except for
Oh,
1, 2. Rob Cairns says that 2, that he's tried
okay.
WordPress Playground, and everyone else here is saying 1, that they're completely new to WordPress Playground.
And confession here, I'm sort of in the 2 category. Okay. I don't, even though I have just looked at this thing and played with this thing forever, no, I don't consider myself a pro. All right. So, what the WordPress Playground does not have. It doesn't need or have you don't need a web server. It doesn't use MySQL, and you don't need a PHP parser. So, those are usually the main ingredients of a WordPress site, not with the WordPress Playground. By the way, sorry for my voice. It sounds kind of raspy, and I think I'm getting a cold, or it's the change of the season. I'm in not far from New York City, and things are changing. Okay, but what does the WordPress Playground use? Brand new or very cutting edge technologies. One's called WebAssembly. Now, I'm not a technical guy per se, and I am certainly not a developer of any kind, but WebAssembly, from my understanding, basically takes PHP and turns it into what JavaScript can do. I'm not sure if that's exactly accurate, but that's my understanding. It doesn't, like I said, use MySQL, but it uses MySQL Lite, which has been around for a long time. And then it also uses these service workers and worker thread API, way beyond my pay grade in order for this to work. Okay, but you can still use it without knowing exactly how it works. And why use WordPress Playground to begin with? And you're going to see what this all is in a second. I'm going to obviously do some demonstrations here. Well, 2 great things. One is you can test everything in a WordPress Playground. You can spin it up in a second, as you'll see. You can test WordPress versions, PHP versions, plugins, themes, everything without really having to go through the hassle of setting up a WordPress site. And it's great for education, which is more in my department. So if I want to test something out, see something, learn something, and I don't want to mess around with the whole deal of setting up a WordPress site, then that's what this is really good for. Now, what are we going to learn today? Now, we're going to learn things or explore things more from a user standpoint and not a developer standpoint, because I am in the user category more than developer, that's for sure. We're going to look at the different storage types. There's actually 3 of them, and how we can use those to store what WordPress Playground does. We can also change PHP and WordPress versions. We're going to be adding plugins and themes. There's different ways to do that. We are also going to explore embedding a playground site into your own WordPress installation. That's kind of an interesting thing. And also how to import or export. It actually should be import a WordPress Playground site. So actually, we're not going to do this in perfect order like you see here, but these are the main topics that I'm going to go over. And so that's that. Oh, by the way, yeah, warning, I am going to mess up. It's not really always me. I would say WordPress Playground is beta-ish. It's really maybe beyond beta, but I still find issues with it. So I did a little work this morning, and it's a bit of a I definitely got to the head scratching stage of things. So bear with me on some of this, and we'll see. Also, before I begin, I just want you to know I need more Twitter followers. I know this sounds kind of crazy, but I'm right now at 999, and I've been there forever. So if you want to follow me, go to JoyWP or look at Bud Kraus on Twitter, and I'll follow you back too. Okay, so let's play. Okay, so that's the end of our PowerPoint. I'm sure you're thrilled with that. And let's have a look. And now you can ask, how do I get out of this? Just by clicking onto something like this, right? I'm assuming people can see my screen. Yes?
Yep.
Okay.
We'll see
All
all
right.
of that.
So first thing to know, and I'm going to put this in can I ask Marcus to put this in the chat window? So I
Yeah,
can,
I'll toss it in for folks.
yeah. This is a great article published at GoDaddy yesterday. How do I know it's great? Well, I don't know if it's great, but I wrote it. So I did spend quite a bit of time researching how the WordPress Playground works. And it's a creation of a guy named Adam Zelensky. If you know Adam, I don't know Adam. I think he's in Poland, but it's really a brilliant concept. Anyway, you could go. A lot of the presentation today is based on what I've written about. What a surprise! And so you can certainly use this article as a resource or a reference if you're interested more about what I'm going to show you. Now let's skip over to here. Actually, not. Yeah. So I'm in, of course, the WordPress plugin repository, and I just so happened to pick out one of these GoDaddy plugins. Marcus, I'm sure you're very happy with that. And so now what I'm going to show you is really, I think, real mind-blowing. That is, see this little button over here? It says Playground. Now, that's not anything that WordPress.org did. I'm using a Chrome extension, which allows for the presentation of this button over here, which will give me, well, you'll see I can spin up a WordPress website with this plugin installed pretty quick. What do I mean pretty quick? Keep my fingers crossed here. Actually, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for everything today. So here's WordPress Playground. And if I'm already logged in, and if I go into the dashboard, and we'll see, I don't know. When I zoom in like this, can people see that it's zoomed in or not? Marcus?
Yes, it does zoom in for us as well.
Oh, it does. Okay, so I zoom in a lot because of my vision, so you'll see what I'm seeing, and maybe you'll see it a little bit better too. Who knows? Okay, so I'm going to go to installed, and here it is. The security plugin is installed and activated, and I'm ready to go, and I can check out something like 1, 2, 3. Of course, in this case, I do need that Chrome browser extension. So I think you just look it up in the extension library, Playground, WordPress Playground, and that's it. I don't know if you can do this with, I don't know if other browsers have this extension, but it's really handy if you just want to just try a single plugin and away you go. Or it doesn't work for themes right now. It's just for the plugins. All right, but let's start from scratch. I just wanted to like sort of blow your mind from the beginning. I'm just going to click out of this. And to start from scratch, like the basic way of doing this is just going to right here. It's playground.wordpress.net. And you can see it's framed inside of here. So it looks kind of funky if you've never seen this before. And what it does is it loads the current default theme 2023 with no plugins. And you can start to build a site right off the bat. Okay, so let's kind of do that. Actually, I don't want to do, let me just show you real quick something that's really the heart of what WordPress Playground is. I'm going to just click on this over here. And it has 3 different storage types to keep in mind. One is the default, which is if you refresh anything, you're going to lose everything that you've created. Now, that might be okay for you, but you have 2 different ways to store. You have a browser storage, and you have really an external. That is, you can keep the files on your site. We're going to look at that so I can show you. Hey, look, no, I told you no MySQL database. We'll get to that. So let's just say I want to add a plugin, which is sort of like, or I want to change the theme. Let's do that. So I go in here and I can see, boy, I am really going to have a hard time. So I can see that I've got that theme installed, and I want to install my own theme. And I click over here. And whether I'm installing a theme or a plugin, you're going to get this message over here that says, hey, this is not connected to the WordPress repo. So that's not going to work. So there are other ways to install themes. One of them is just to go to the WordPress repo and look for the theme and download it, as a zip file onto your computer and do it that way. In fact, let's try that. So it's pretty simple. I've already done it to save ourselves some time because you probably just don't want to watch me. I'm trying to find what I'm supposed to be looking for here. Yeah, you just don't want to spend, the rest of the day watching me go to the repo and getting stuff. And I'm going to use this plugin, or I'm sorry, this theme over here. Give me a break. All right, go right over here. Sorry for the back and forth. This is the way I work, but I'll be zooming in and out. You're going, I'm getting dizzy. And I'm going to take this file. Actually, I can do this a couple of different ways. I can just drop this in over here. And if you didn't know that, you can do what I just did. And then I'm going to install this. So it's the Go theme. Okay. And I'm going to activate it. And okay. And so here it is. The Go theme's activated. Let's see if it made any changes on the front end of things. Yeah, it did. Okay, there's the Go theme. Now, if I am in the default no storage mode here, and if the minute I refresh this page, the browser goes away, everything I've done is gone. I'm going to do exactly that. And you see, I wasn't kidding. I never kid. So that's something that's to be, if you're going to refresh, well, everything's going to disappear, and which might be fine, okay, because you just don't need it anymore. But what happens if you, by the way, you can't ask questions in the chat. I think you know that, right? And Marcus will read out the questions as we go along or afterwards. Anyway, I want to go a little bit beyond this. I want to like store this. And here's where things get a little tricky, if you ask me. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh this. I know I just did, but I just want to make sure. Okay. And I'm going to go into here. This time I'm going to install 2 plugins. Now, the plugins I want to install are right over. So again, I'm going to get this message that says, you can't do it like you're used to doing it. So I'm going to update, or I'm going to install the plugins, upload the plugins, and they're right over here. Unfortunately, something's in the way. It's hard for me to see this. Okay, I'm just going to do one because, why not? And I'm going to do the, let me just see which one I want to do here. Yeah, limit logon attempts. And I'm going to just drag this in just the way I did, very similar to the theme. And I am going to install now.
Hey, bud.
Yeah.
That bar across the bottom.
Yeah.
There's a little link at the very end of it that says hide.
Oh.
If you want to get that out of,
I do.
Get that out of the way
Thank
of your
you.
file.
Got
there
it.
You go.
Did it. Okay, thanks. And now I'm going to activate the plugin. All right, so this is active. Now let's do this. Let's go to the site. And in fact, let's go out to the site. Now you'd say like, wait a minute, what about the theme? Well, and what happened here? Yeah, so here's where things get a little bit sticky because I was expecting a way to have access. So bear with me here. This is where things can get a little bit tricky. Let's go back into the dashboard and see what's going on here. We know we're dealing with the default theme. And again, let's look at the plugin, and it's definitely installed. So I don't really know what is causing the issue. That is, how come I don't have my ability to, let's try this again by, sometimes this works. Yeah, it didn't work. So this is one of the problems.
That's an interesting. That's an interesting. Interesting that happened to you there, because what I expected to see when you came back out was like, that kind of gradient background behind a fake browser window that had this in it, and what it's done. I assume it's the plugin that you installed has sort of broken it out of that box and loaded it into.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You're exactly. I mean, we don't need this anymore. Let me just get out of here. And one thing you want to do also is, just keep your eye on the URL.
Out of curiosity, if you disable that plugin, will it fix itself?
This is not a really good URL here. I'll tell you what I mean by that in a second. That doesn't make any sense, that URL. So let's do exactly what Marcus is recommending. Let's go to here and let's deactivate. And let's see what happens here. And I'm going to refresh. And again, we don't get it. So,
It looks like it's locked you into that mode.
yeah, I've seen this before, and I don't know what causes that. Oh, here we go. Let's. This doesn't make any sense either. Hold on. So we're back over here, and now it says install. I don't want to do it that way. I want to go over here. All right, here's where you're supposed to be, right? And let's try this again. Let's go back into here. And I promise we'll see if I can't promise anything. All I can do is promise that we'll try, and we'll see if there's any. Okay, so let's activate. Right, and now let's go to here. All right, now it seems like it's going to be there. Now, one thing I want to do is right over here, it says storage, and I'm going to look at this a little better. Storage none. So if I refresh, everything goes away. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that at all. What I want to do is go over here and do what they call browser storage. Okay, so I'm going to click on apply. All right, now if I go over to here, actually let's refresh, okay, just to see if this is, we'll do a little test here. And we're going to go over here and go to plugins, and that's not what you would expect. So
I think
all right.
I think when you switched it from storage none to storage browser, it kicked up a new instance on you.
It should have.
So it should store starting now, starting after you hit the.
Starting after. Well, let's try that. Okay, so let's maybe, that's one of the things that I found confusing is when do you apply, before or after? You're saying after, correct?
Yeah, I think it looks like if you want to do storage in the browser, you have to decide that up front.
Well, that's before.
And yeah, before, and then do what you want to do.
Right. I think that's
because I see now that it's given you a start over button. Up there at the top too, that wasn't there before.
All right, let's do exactly that. I'm going to do start over. All right, and we're going to erase everything we have. All right, so you can see that there's a little experimentation, even if people have used this before. But okay, so I am going to now. We started over. Now you think I should switch it over to right now? Is that right?
Well, it's already on storage browser.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go over to, let's do here. And we're only going to do one because all you need to do is one.
And to be clear, I'm guessing along with you.
Okay.
I don't know that for sure.
Right. Because I have found it like very, let's do the Gutenberg plugin, okay, as our example. And we're going to install it. All right, we're going to activate it.
Yeah, interesting. Activating it kicked you back out into that full screen window.
I totally agree. Look at this. Right.
Opens a new tab. Yeah. And pushes you into the full screen.
I totally agree. So that's a little bit of a strange behavior, if you ask me. It's funny because when I did this before, so it's active over here. If we go over to here.
I didn't notice it do that to you the first time.
Yeah, it did. No, it's.
I mean, I didn't notice it opened a new tab. I noticed that it went to that full screen window, but I didn't notice that it was opening in a new tab.
Yeah. So here we are, and it's in browser storage. Now, we should agree. Let's agree collectively about the following. Let me just see here. All right. So Gutenberg is in there now. Okay. So somehow we stumbled our way to what we wanted. Okay, so what I want to do is show you something right now. Let's just do, I'm going to close this, all right? And we'll start a new instance of the playground. Better not click on that, right?
Don't close that tab.
Yeah, that much I know. Okay, so let's start again, and I'll show you where we are. We have the two storage types so far. This is the default, okay? And here, now it says storage none. That's exactly right. I'm starting with a fresh instance. If I switch over to here, all right, and this is what you're going to see by browser storage. If all goes well, we'll keep our fingers crossed again. I go to plugins, there it is. Okay. So not only will it retain the plugins and the, um, if you change the theme, but all the content that you may have created and the media library and the whole bit. So you're actually, it's sort of like what we're sort of looking for is sort of the save button, if you will, that it saves all the changes that you make. Let's, for example, we'll do one other and then we'll move on.
I found it
Um,
I found it interesting just now that when you went to the playground
right.
again in a fresh tab,
Hmm.
even though you had a quote unquote saved version, that it
Right.
didn't immediately pick up on that on its own, that it still dumped you into storage none and waited for you to switch it over to the browser storage before it
Right.
loaded that back in.
Well, it'll always start a browser none. Okay, no storage.
Yep.
And then you can kick it into another mode. There's two other modes, and we'll get to the third in a little bit. So if I go over to themes, all right, and this time let's use 2020, 2020. Where is it? Here we go. We remember this one. Did I? No, I didn't do it right. Sorry. Okay, and let's just do it this way, right? And 20. Here we go, 2020, and we're going to do this. Okay, and we are going to activate. All right, so now we have 2020 in there, correct? Do we agree? Yes, we agree. And we're going to go to the site, and that's 2020. Now, what I'm going to do here is, and browser, we're going to apply changes. We're going to apply this. Okay. And if I went back to here, okay, this should be starting all over again. Apply. Okay, that's looking good. And if we go back to over here, that's looking good too. So, folks, we actually made some progress here. So, this is the way you can save your work in your browser. Now, don't like start fretting. Well, where's my SQL? You know, right now I don't want to really get into it. It's just sort of like magic, but you can do it this way. There was something I wanted to mention. Okay, we'll get to that. Now, the third way.
But before
Yeah.
you hop off to a third way,
Yeah.
I
Sure.
have a
Yeah.
question for you.
Yes.
Um, it looks like this stores any active plugins and themes. If you change any of the content, let's say the sample page, you change the
Right.
title
Yeah.
or whatever, does that also get saved? Will that also
Yes.
still be there when you
Yeah.
come back?
I know I'm not demonstrating. I'll throw that in there somewhere. Okay, so you can don't take my word for it, kind of thing. But I've seen it. Yes, the answer
Okay.
is yeah, because you can go ahead and start building your site, and later on I'll show you. You know, you could export, and import, and stuff like that. So that's okay. But I'm gonna do the third way. Actually, before I get to the third way, and something I'm not really going to spend too much time on. This is one of the reasons why this is such a great developer's paradise here, because you can easily change the PHP version, okay, and you can actually change the WordPress versions, including the nightly, you know, version of WordPress, meaning like what's going on right now, or what happened last night with WordPress as it marches ever so whatever to WordPress 6.4. But you
Yeah,
can see,
and
yeah,
even 6.4 release candidate 1 is there already, which I
yeah,
think was released either yesterday or today. So
that is
it's
correct. Here we are.
pretty up to date.
Yeah. So this is what's great, because if you want to see, does my plugin work with, PHP 2.0? Well, you can't test that, but you can see, you can go back, a bunch of years ago to see if it works. And also with different versions of WordPress, which I think is fantastic. And I expect that this will expand to even earlier versions, maybe. Who knows? Anyway, like I said, I'm not going to show you, exactly how this works, because it's a little more straightforward than this stuff over here. Let's go to let's do this one. The third one I think is really interesting, and I think a little more trustworthy. It's a little more, so far it's been more reliable. That is, you can save your install on your computer. So so this is kind of nice. So I am going to just select a folder. How are we doing on time?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
about a half hour and we're good.
All right. Yeah, I've never done this presentation, obviously, before, so timing is, you never know. So I have a folder already that I did with a previous install. So actually, let's just take a look at that right now. So there is one there already. So I'm not going to save anything. Let me see, how do I access that one? Yeah, I am going to access this one. Select a local directory. Okay, so what it'll do is it will save the current, no, let's just start from scratch. Sorry. Sorry, I'm all over the map. I know. It's not my usual style, but who said I had a style anyway? So, okay. I'm going to click on this and then create a new folder in, we'll do it on the desktop so I can, and we'll just call it test. All right, and I'm going to click on this, and now we're going to do this. All right, and just give it a second or two. Now, you can just see that the files are being quote unquote created actually, and that's exactly what's going on. The files are being created and placed onto my computer. So much of this is done in computer memory that, like I say, way beyond my ability to explain this, how it works, but it does sort of.
So,
Yeah, go
that
ahead.
that you just saved to the
Right.
desktop is just the plugins and themes that you had, or the entire WordPress install?
The entire install. So if I go over here now, you can see where it says storage device. That means this. Okay. That is, I just saved it to here, meaning
Mhm.
over here. Let's take a look. I did promise we would look. And I will look over here. You get to see what my computer looks like. And hey, doesn't this look like a typical WordPress install?
Yep.
Yeah,
Looks like the whole thing.
but where's the big difference? I forget what the big difference is. Content includes, maybe it's in content. Here, this is the difference. Look, no MySQL database. It's got some stuff here. Okay, it looks like HD access, and this is basically here. And that's it. So I don't understand. But anyway, okay. I hate not understanding the basic thing, like some of these kinds of things, but eventually I suppose I'll understand more. Okay, so now if I want to go back, actually, I want to make a change here. Okay, so let's say, because this will sort of answer Marcus's question, what happens if you make a change? All right, so currently we're coming from that test folder on my site. Notice the URL is not like you would expect. Okay, it's a little, but we're going to just add a post. Okay, and we're just going to say add a post, and it's a little, I don't know, post here. Okay, and we'll save this. Okay, and let's go to the front end of the site. Okay, or we do it over here, I suppose. Let's go here and post here, right? And hello world. Okay, so now I want to go back to, did I say I clicked on start over, didn't I? Oh, that was stupid.
No, you clicked on sync
Oh,
local
sync
files.
files. Okay, that's what I want to do.
Well, I was going to
Meaning,
ask if you need to do that every
you
time,
do,
or if it does that
you,
on its own.
you do. No. What you need to do is update your files for your local install, which I just did. I just don't
So,
want to, yeah.
kind of like that save button again. Once you make
Yeah,
some
right.
changes in your site,
Exactly.
make sure you hit that save button.
What I want to do though is go back to here. Okay, and if we do that, you'll see, okay, but it won't have, right? Didn't have
Yep.
that new content. If I want to go back to what I just did a second ago, all right, let's just take a look at that. And you just have to do it like this. All right. All right. And just click through this stuff over here. And there it is. Pretty reliable so
Yeah.
far. And over here, see, practice makes perfect. So, and then I apply over here, and how about that? So 3 different ways of storage, and when you work with this for the first time, obviously you're going to experiment and see what works best for you. But there you go. You have 3 different ways. Now, what about exporting and importing? Oh,
Yeah.
actually, let's do something totally different. Hold on, before we get to that.
Okay. I know you get there, and that's why I haven't
Yeah,
asked you. Rob in the chat asked, Rob Cairns asked,
I know
is
the guy.
there an easy is there an easy way to take a site in WordPress Playground and move it to a live site? So I know that
No,
you'll get there with the import
no, I'm going to get
export.
there right
So
now. The answer
or
is not an easy way. And I'm not going
okay.
to do that today because it's a little more involved. But if you go to that article that I wrote in GoDaddy, um, and Marcus, you shared the link, it
Yeah,
does
I
explain.
toss it in the
Right.
chat for you.
There are essentially 2 ways of doing this, or 2 considerations. One, are you working with a block theme in the playground? If you are, it's easier because there's 5 steps to it that I explain in the article. And the it's just a lot easier you'll use the plugin called Create Block Theme to make it a lot easier to do that transfer. If you are doing it without a block theme, perish the thought. But let's say you're just using a classic theme. So sorry for all the usual commentary, but if you're using a classic theme, then it's a little bit different. And I explain it over there too. It's basically it's sort of the old-fashioned, not great way of migrating sites. So you can't do a perfect migration like you can normally do. You'll have to use the export import functionality that's built into tools, and then you'll have to upload all your plugins and files. I'm sorry, your plugins and your themes manually, and then you'll have to, if you did any settings changes, let's say through the customizer, then you're going to have to do those manually too when you do the export. So not as smooth and elegant as the first way when you use a block theme. So hopefully that answers the question without going through all that rigmarole, or not rigmarole, but spending time doing it. Okay, so one thing I want to show you though, let's start fresh. I mean, really fresh. I'm going to get out of there. And so what's really cool, one of the really cool things about WordPress Playground is that you can use something called that Adam built in called the Query API. So I'll just click on this over here. So this is fantastic. So rather than upload the files, like upload the upload the plugins and themes, you can use a URL like this. So it's playground.wordpress.net, and then you can see it has the what is this, question mark, and then it appends the following: theme equals, and you can put in your theme, and then ampersand plugin equals, and how many plugins you want. You would just keep appending, like right over here. Plugin Sensi, I'm sorry, Security Scanner, and plugin Gutenberg. Let's give that a try. Okay. And you can see this is the URL up here, and all 3 things got uploaded. That is the Go theme and the 2 plugins. And I know you don't believe me, so we'll just take a look. I don't. So we'll go over here and we'll take a look at plugins. And I don't blame you for not believing me. It's really weird. It's there. Is it really there? I don't think so. Yeah, I'm not really sure why it didn't work, but it should have worked. So the theme is there. Let's just take a look at theme. And yeah, here's the Go theme. Now I did a refresh, as you just saw, and I'm going to go to plugins, and it doesn't have it. I don't understand why that doesn't work. I was having problems with that before, and
Yeah,
that should work.
that's
Let's do one
that's
other.
interesting.
Yeah,
When you
yeah,
refreshed,
right,
I saw it loop through, because it kind of tells you, it goes by really quick, but
right.
kind of tells you what it's doing. And I saw it say that it was downloading the plugin and downloading
Yeah.
the theme and activating them. So I saw it loop through those.
Okay, let's do this. Let's try as our little test over here. Let's do. Let's start with. See, there's no reason to have a start over. because you are starting over. But let's do it this way. Let's just now this doesn't make any sense. Let's try one more. We'll try one more example. It really should work. And I have another one. Trust me, I've seen this work. Right over here, here's an example where I'm using, so I'm putting in the WP equals the nightly, okay, and the ampersand, and I'm putting in the theme, and then I'm also putting in plugins, also the PHP version. So you have all these like different parameters that you can append to your string here and then you can just click on this and keep your fingers crossed. Again, I'm a lot of praying today, you know. Okay. So let's just see how this played out. But over here in the URL, you have all these, you have exactly what I just showed. And when you're working with a playground, you're going to be keeping your eye on what's going on in here too. But this should, you know, let's try this. Actually, what I'm going to do is a little bit different. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit the apply button. And we're going to store everything in the browser maybe. And now let's look and see what we have. Okay. Yeah, lovely. I've seen that before too, I think. Let's go to themes. Yeah, and let's go to plugins. So, plugins. Huh. So you can see what the difference I did this time was after I loaded everything, then I saved it in the browser, and there they are. So now Marcus tells me that Elementor really doesn't work yet with this. So, you know, it's
Well, I played with it a couple weeks ago. Maybe it's fixed by now.
yeah. Oh, I have seen changes. I have seen changes. Now, let's go to the front end of things. And you might say, well, I would like to upload this, or I want to export this to another playground site. Okay, that's not what Rob was asking. But let's say you did. Let's say you wanted to save this and use it for a later time. So all you need to do is in any one of these modes, and the current mode I'm in is what? I'm in the WP Nightly. I'm in the browser storage. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which sort of makes sense because if I was in just the default, it would just be it wouldn't be anything other than it would wipe out everything. So I am going to download this. All right. And oh yeah, where did it go? Did it go anywhere? Oh, here we go. All right. So it downloads this as a WordPress.playground.zip file. Okay. Now let's open up another playground instance. What happens if we do that? And that's what I would expect, sort of a naked instance. But now I'm going to do this. I'm going to upload or import, and I'm going to choose the file, and it's going to be somewhere on my desktop. Here we go, desktop. No. And down here, right, WordPress playground.zip. Okay, and import. And let's see what we have here. And sure enough, so I have two different instances or two different tabs open, and it's the exact same thing. So at least I hope it's the same thing. It should be the same thing. So that's a way to do this. You can import, export the way I just did that. Again, I just showed you how to import it into another, but you can save these things. That's the bottom line. Is there ways to save what I'm doing? Yes. So, you know, even though some of it's a little bit clunky and not real smooth yet, it's definitely getting there. Now, one other thing I want to show, and then, yeah, and that's probably going to be, and then questions, discussions, whatever, is if I go to, where is this? Oh, my fabulous website. Okay. So this is really cool. You can actually embed a whole WordPress Playground instance into your website. Now, you know, you got to be a little careful, I think. Well, because you expose the admin, not your own admin. Okay, that's not exposed, but the WP Playground admin is exposed, as you can see here. Like, what do I mean? Well, you know, I think I can just click into here or here, or Oh, it's over here. I'm not used to, but you can see, look at this. Here's your WordPress inside of your WordPress. How cool is that? So I'll show you the magic code. You can pretty much figure out what's going on. If you're a developer, you'll definitely know what I'm talking about. But
these embedded instances are all going to be unique to whoever's viewing that page at any given time, right? So if I went to your website and I played with this, even in the admin, I don't think I'm affecting
that's
what
right.
it would look like if somebody
No,
else came to the
that's
same
correct.
page.
See, and why is this good? Is because if you are, let's say, a plugin developer and you want to show people like what your plugin's going to, how it's going to work and what it's going to look like, whoa, why don't we just embed WordPress Playground into our website and give people a chance to play around with it? And if Bud comes around and plays around with it, it's not going to be saved for that when Marcus comes around and plays with it.
Yeah.
So that's great. Boy, I just realized how really good this is. All right, code. How does it work? Okay, it shouldn't be a real shock to you, but if I go into edit post over here, here it is. So it's an iframe, and it's, I'm going to blow this up so yours truly can see it better. Iframe, Playground Net. Here is the theme equals 2022, and you can make your changes right in here. Okay, and the rest of this is a bunch of CSS to make it easier to see that I put in there, and that's it. So yeah, if I wanted to change this right now, let's say to 2023, just for kicks and giggles, I just changed it to 2023. I'm going to do this over here, and then I'm going to put this over here. Yep, 2023. How about that? So you can see it's very flexible about, what. Wow, if you're a plugin developer, you preload everything. No, get out of the way. Although you can subscribe to my newsletter if you want. Just go to my website, and why not? And believe me, I am the least. You'll see like 3 newsletters a year from me, so don't worry. So from a developer standpoint, this is a great tool. And in fact, going back to the very beginning, you can see this is really good for testing, for developers, but also for education. If I'm new to WordPress, I teach WordPress online. One of the things I may eventually do is, hey, we're all going to start with WordPress Playground, and I'll show you how to save it, and that's it. I don't have to worry about servers and this and that. All done. One last thing too. Some of you may know that, was it Marcus? Was it last week? I don't know. But WordPress, the WordPress plugin repository had the WordPress Playground available as a preview for every plugin, and then all the plugin developers got all upset about it. I don't blame them because they weren't ready for it. They weren't notified. Some of these plugins are not going to work the way in this kind of environment. So they took that down. So that doesn't exist yet, but you can imagine there will be a day where you can use the WordPress Playground for previews, for testing from WordPress.org. I can see that's going to come. And with that, I think I am done. So
awesome.
Thanks
for walking us through all that and showing us when it works and when it doesn't work and all that.
Can I just say one last thing I just thought of?
Yeah.
If you're going to append your URL to add, plugins and themes, make sure that you use the slug at WordPress.org. So if you were just going to say, I'm going to just say, plugin equals security, that's not going to work. You've got to use the slug that you see in the WordPress site, okay, in the WordPress.org repository. Yeah, because I was doing some of these, and I'm saying, whoa, that's not working. So it will work. You don't have a chance if you don't get the right slug in there.
Yeah, so some of them aren't what you expect them to
be. Exactly. So like rank math, it's like SEO by rank math. That's what you have to use. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I don't have a ton of questions. Rob does want to see cadence and how it works and if it works in the playground.
You got any other questions?
That's the only one I've got.
So try it out yourself, Rob.
Yeah. That's fine. Well, and
Yeah,
I'll share, not just the video recording here, but also the links that we've shared throughout. The article that you wrote, I'll share that out
yeah,
with the
please.
recording.
Right,
Um, your website. I also dug up the Chrome extension and
right,
where you
good
can
idea.
download that. So I'll share that link as well when I send this out. So hopefully there'll be plenty of
Oh,
resources there for folks to try out the things that they want to try out and see if it works. And I would encourage everyone to give it a try. Try to break it, find out what plugins work and what plugins
right,
don't work,
right.
and let folks know because
Yeah, and one of the things
this is a
you
work in progress. I
yeah,
think you and I kind of talked about it. You mentioned it
right,
really before we started here that while it's a really great piece, it's still kind of in the early days, early stages. And so if we
yeah,
can find what's not working and share those things back, then we as a community can continue to make this better and better resource for
yeah.
everyone.
Because this is not gonna go away. This is only gonna get more play, more prominence, I think, in the WordPress world.
Yep.
And it's still, and it's, even though it was for, I don't know when it came out, but it was somewhere in 2022, it was like maybe alpha or whatever. So it's still pretty new. And as you can see, not exactly the most even, elegant experience that you could see, but it's okay to play with it. And there are definitely ways of saving what you do. That was my thing. Okay. So I was like, how do I save this? Yeah, if I'm working on something, how am I going to save this? And then, of course, what Rob said before, which is, okay, great, you make something locally or you make it through Playground. How are you going to migrate that to a real live site? And go to my article. But as I mentioned, there are two major considerations: whether you're using a block theme or a
Hmm.
classic. Yeah.
Yeah, and that'll be a big step, a big feature once that becomes easier to say,
Yes. Yeah.
download my files
Yep.
and content, and that way I can upload
Yeah.
them, on a hosting server
Oh,
somewhere.
I can't believe that we won't have plugins or something which will make it easy to migrate your playground site to a real live old-fashioned web hosting kind of
Yep,
WordPress installation.
it's got to be in the works
Yeah, I'm
at
sure it is.
somewhere.
Right. Okay. Thank you everybody for listening. And you can always contact me, bud at joyofwp.com or Slack or whatever. And don't forget, I need some more people to like me on Facebook. I mean, not Facebook, on Twitter. Follow
On
me,
Twitter, X, whatever it's called these days.
or
Yep.
whatever it's called. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much,
Thank-
Bud, for
Thanks.
sharing all that. Like I said, for everyone that joined us here, everyone that registered, I'm going to send out a replay of this so you can kind of walk back through and see all the things that Bud shared. And I'll also share out the resource links, like Bud's blog article, which has some more information that goes a little bit deeper,
Yeah.
even into some of the stuff that we talked about here. That will be heading your way. For this, any past events, recordings, any future events, head to events.godaddy.com to register there. Check out our GoDaddy Pro YouTube channel. We have them all there as well. And that's it for us. Thanks so much, Bud.
Thank you. Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody.
We'll see everybody later.